Hey there, I'm Amanda Pollock. I am a cookbook and food memoir coach, and in this video, we're going to talk about, do celebrities write their own cookbooks? So, most of the time when people find out that I work with people on their cookbooks, they tell me their favorite cookbooks, they want to know what my favorite books are, and they're endlessly fascinated with how they get made. So I thought it would be helpful to learn a little bit of behind the scenes behind celebrity cookbooks, and do they really write their own books / create their own recipes? So the answer is yes, no, maybe. Often when a celebrity is approached for a cookbook, it's from a publisher and they have some kind of lifestyle influence. So most of the time you would find people who have either talked about a weight loss journey, they have shown home meals they've cooked, or just shared a general interest in cooking overall. And some of those folks do make their own recipes. Chrissy Teigen comes to mind. I know that Kristen Cavallari, in her book, she talked about that she worked with someone, but was very open about that process. And she learned a lot and then created a lot of the things in partnership with someone. Ayesha Curry comes to mind as someone who has a background in recipe development that even goes back to her days before Ayesha became Ayesha, when she had a local Bay Area television show, and she is someone who I respect a lot. I have a lot of respect for what she has done and is doing within the food space and beyond. But so there are definitely people who can develop their own recipes. No, because a lot of folks, celebrity cookbooks included, but a lot of times when you see a public figure have a book come out, they have a ghostwriter. They have not written that. They have gotten with someone to get their thoughts down on the page. That can happen in a number of ways. A lot of people will send big long audio notes, and then the ghostwriter will edit that down and craft it into a story. Some people have a very snotty attitude about ghostwriters, and the thing I would say with that is you just have to reframe it. Some people have a message they want to get out there, and they don't have the skills or the capabilities to craft it in a story that will serve people well. And that's not a criticism, it's just a fact. And so ghostwriters, a lot of them they might have their own projects they're working on, love helping other people tell their stories, so they don't care that their name will never appear attached to that book. It depends on the contract. Every ghostwriter is different, but it works for a lot of people. You also see that in music. There's a lot of ghostwriters for songs. So sometimes people have help, sometimes they don't. And then the maybe is you could also have a co-author. And Julia Turshen, JJ Good come to mind as far as co-authoring cookbooks. They are well-respected names within the space, also have done their own things. Julia Turshen has written many cookbooks, is amazing, but also helped Gwyneth Paltrow with her book. And there's different processes for all of that, but they're just as there are many different ways for a non-celebrity to write a cookbook, there are ways for celebrities to write their books. Depends on their brand, it depends on the message, it depends on how capable they are of spearheading that project on their own. A lot of celebrities will get help because they simply don't have the bandwidth. So let's get to the recipes. I kind of mentioned a little bit before, Kristen Cavallari was very open about the fact that she had help developing these recipes and creating this cookbook. So It depends. Some people will be very, very open about the help they have received, and other people want all of the credit for themselves. Any cookbook you see, I do not care who it is, they have had help along the way. I don't care if it was someone saying, I didn't really like that recipe, have you thought of using this ingredient instead? There are always going to be elements where someone else had a say. I think it was years ago, there was a criticism, someone said something about, sorry, there was just a piece of hair tickling me, about Bobby Flay not writing his own cookbook, and he got very upset, and it was interpreted as him not developing his own recipes. So even with recipes, other people will have an input. A lot of people will have recipe testers, or you will work with a recipe developer. Joanna Gaines acknowledged the team in the Meredith Food Studios, which was formerly the Time Inc. Food Studios, when I was there. But that team helped with the development of that. Joanna probably had ideas of recipes that she wanted in the book, and then you give that over to a development team who takes those recipes, tests them. A lot of times with testing, you have anywhere from, like in an editorial sense, when I worked at food magazines, you would have anywhere from 4 to 8, even more than that, different people testing them, leaving notes, what they liked, what they didn't. If you're developing recipes, one of the things that you would then do is you're making notes of, okay, so with this batch, for some reason I just keep thinking about cookies, for this batch, I increased the cook time to this, and then I cut the butter down to half. You're constantly tweaking that. And people who work in test kitchens are a very special breed, and I love them so much because they are so dedicated to their craft, and it is absolutely a craft to develop and then also to translate that into language and in a way that multiple readers can take that and run. So with the developing of recipes, it can also be the same, where you might have someone who did a lot of them on their own, or they were totally ghostwritten and that person still wants all of the credit, or you could be working in tandem with a group and being very, very open about that. But all of this to say, regardless, no one is working on a book all by themselves. I don't care who they are. You have an editor, you have probably an agent, you have a publisher, you have even just your friends and family giving their opinions on things. So no one writes a book all by themselves. Whether or not you take all of the credit is another thing, but something you can do is look in the acknowledgments of every book, every cookbook you have, and see who people talk about. The publishing world is very small, and there are a lot of people who will pop up time and time again. So you can familiarize yourself with those people, especially recipe developers and testers, even food stylists, a prop stylist, photographers, editors. And that can help you get a better idea of who's really working on what. So if you see someone's name pop up a lot, but they weren't mentioned as, even really like helping write a book, but oh, I think that's like an editor I've heard about before. I've seen their name before. That's really cool or interesting. Can kind of, if you're interested in how these are made and the people behind them, that can be a fantastic way to just learn a little bit more. But so, do celebrities write their own cookbooks? Yes, no, maybe. Do they develop their own recipes? Yes, no, maybe. And that's the truth for every book made. So, hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you a teeny bit more insight. If you have any comments, questions, things you just want to share, pop them below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. You can also find me at amandapollock.com. Until next time, see you later. Bye.